Are a go. Well, welcome,
Hey, Clint.
Ken. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I wonder if anybody watches our streams. I'd like to think so. Maybe someday in the far, far future, we can all look back on these and go, "Oh my God, look at Clint and Ken. They were so young and so new." Anyway,
Yeah, well,
welcome
we're
to
just
this.
figuring it out.
Yeah. Welcome to this week's ZDTV. This week, I get to play the host, which is nice, and Ken will be the doer bee, doing some fun stuff. What are we going to do today? Well, in case you didn't know, we're going to do SSH Safety without a bastion. What does that mean? How can that possibly be? It's crazy, right? So we're going to just hop right into it. We're going to let Ken take over, show his screen, and see what we can do. So we don't have a diagram, and that's my fault. But basically, the general gist is we're going to have a bastion that provides access to other machines through SSH, a common paradigm that you'll see deployed out there, in more secure environments, so that they can have tighter control over who accesses the network and how. You'll see these bastions deployed. Um, and Ken will then SSH through that bastion into some other machine, right? Ken, stop me if I go out of line here, and that just will prove that the bastion is in place, that we can't SSH to the other machine. And then what we'll do is we'll stand up a whole brand new ZD network using the cute little guide that I created and posted just this week, actually. Ken has never seen this before. Ken has never done this before. And Ken has a significant amount of trepidation around this process, which I enjoy. So I get
I
to
just like to
torture.
be prepared.
I get to
Okay.
torture Ken. Ken's like, I want to have run this 10 times. I'm like, no, Ken, no, I'm going to make you do it live. So we're going to do it live. Um, and then we're going
I
to make a
am the
whole brand
planet
new.
user.
Yep, we'll make a whole brand new environment. We'll have to go to two different web pages to make that happen. One is the public
Okay.
one, and the only thing that's going to be a little tough is I'm still working on the Zach stuff. But I have that published. It is public. It's just not in the same place, but it won't be. You'll have no problem. Once we make that ZD network and we have the pieces in place, then we'll actually build out the overlay. We'll create services. We'll register endpoints, and we'll actually SSH into that dark um, uh, endpoint that used to be able to provide access via the Bastion. We'll provide it through
hmm
ZD. We'll still go through the Bastion, and we'll turn our Bastion public IP address off. So that the only way to get through that bastion is actually via ZD. The reason we're going to do this is because zero trust is a journey, right? And lots of people will have this exact same setup. In fact, we, as the company NetFoundry, who sponsor all of this, have this exact same setup. And so hopefully we are going to do exactly this with our own Bastion network. And I say hopefully, but I mean, like, we both know it's happening right now. So
Absolutely.
that'll be coming soon. Okay, so does that make sense, Ken? I'm going to turn
Yep.
it to you. See if you have any questions. I haven't given you the link, so I'll go find the link that I want you to follow, and then you can start on your side.
All right. Well, I have already gone so far as to create this Kubernetes cluster environment because it seemed like a convenient way to get a server up and running and with a bastion protecting it. It's a feature of the Kubernetes ops CLI to create that for us. So that's a simple isolated SSH server with a bastion providing the ingress to that host. That's where we're at right now. And I should be able to log into that guy using SSH at this moment. And so the next things that we'll need to do are to, well, we'll just have to see what your guide says. But I had anticipated trying to set up Ziti on the target server so that we wouldn't need the bastion anymore.
Okay, well, yeah, we can figure that out. Do you have the Bastion up and running already?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, then we don't have to start that off. So I wasn't looking. Were you able to SSH through the Bastion someplace interesting?
I'll go ahead and make sure that I can do that.
It's probably a good place to start.
Yeah, so I'll start us out and I'll just make an empty directory for us to work in. And I'll paste my setup here so I can verify SSH.
And just so I remember, on the left-hand side in that terminal window, that is your local machine, or is that the remote machine?
Yeah, that's my computer.
Okay, so we're looking at your local shell on the left side.
Yep.
And on the right is just some notes, right? Some pre-defined
Yeah.
commands to make it easier. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
All right. So we got I got an unexpected error trying to SSH through the Bastion to the target server. Oh, because I didn't fill in this one. So let's inspect our nodes in the cluster to get the IP address of the master node. So this is our master, and that's the IP. That's the local IP.
I see. So you've actually deployed a Kubernetes cluster and provided access into the cluster through a Bastion.
Yep. Well,
Gotcha.
tried to. Let's see if it works. There we go.
All right. Fantastic. So now we've proven that you can SSH through the Bastion and get to that remote interesting machine. Cool.
Right.
I put let's see, I put two. Oh, I do have to click show to show the that's the I tried to put that into the chat. Since this is my first time being host and producer, I must have done it wrong. But I've also sent that to you in Mattermost.
Okay.
I was trying to
Now I
put
see
that
it.
into the public chat, but that was not in the public chat. Or maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah, it showed up for me.
Okay, cool. So if you go ahead and open that page
And
up.
all right. Opening now. Oh, Chrome is way over there. Paste.
Now we're going to need a machine to deploy this onto. To, other than the Bastion, we want to put it someplace else. So can
Okay.
we fire up any random Amazon instance real fast?
Yeah, let's do that.
For these kind of tests, I always use a micro. I use the free tier version because the quantity of CPU necessary is minimal. Personally, I use Ubuntu, but I don't know if
Ubuntu.
Amazon
Okay.
is any different. But you do need one little bit that's not in the guide at the moment, and I'll tell you how to do that in a second. You want a public IP address on this one.
Okay. I'm just gonna throw it into the default subnet since it's intentionally outside of the little environment where I set up the cluster with the Bastion, right?
Yep.
It just needs to be public.
It just needs to have a public IP address, and Amazon will just create a fictitious EC2 DNS name.
Yeah, it looks like we're good there. We don't need an elastic IP for this exercise, just a
Nope.
predictable public IP.
Yep. Doesn't even have to be predictable.
Already.
I mean, we just need it to not restart.
I
We need it for
gotcha.
just right
Yeah.
now. Yep.
It just needs to live long enough for us to do this.
Exactly. I just click
Any
next on
first
this one.
boot stuff
Nope.
in here?
Nope.
Okay.
I just go ahead and add storage. Well, if you review and launch, will it get you? Yeah, You just need to be able to supply the correct key that you want to be able to connect with, so you can SSH there. So, oh, there is one extra step. So if you look at the doc on the right, you'll see it mentions firewall. And when it mentions firewall, how do I take away? Boop, let's do this. Yeah. When it mentions firewall, it says you'll need some ports available. Now, this is a good, let Clint take a note because by default, the ports are not going to be 1280 and 6262 in these cases. So
Oh, okay.
instead, let's just use, we're gonna open up 3 ports through the firewall.
Okay.
One is going to be for why can't I open a notepad in my own local machine? Here we go. Open notepad. Come on.
I
All
don't
right,
know,
there we go.
Clint.
I'm taking notes. Try to take
It's a
notes.
mutiny.
Ports are wrong. Wrong on firewall. Okay, we're going to do 8441, 8442, and 8443.
84,
8441.
1,
Yep. And you can leave it open to 0000.
84, 43.
Yep. Perfect.
And that is what?
So 8441 is the controller's REST API. 8442 will be the Edge router's port. And 8443 will be the Ziti Admin Console.
All right. And then after I've got those in,
That's it.
41 through 43. Oh, that's it? Okay.
That's all we need. Go ahead and review and launch.
Alrighty.
Because we're not going to be adding more edge routers, we don't need to have anything additional, any ports additionally opened.
Alrighty.
If we were going to build links, then we'd need one more port, but we don't need that here. I really wish they'd let you set this when you create the instance. ZTV.
Something happened to my text that I typed.
It's interesting. I was having similar problems locally with my opening notepad. I wonder if Restream somehow is getting in our way.
I think it's like a refresh thing. Like because the AWS console is doing its thing, it's like blanking this.
It's weird.
Just had to type it and hit enter before it
Nice.
had
Nice.
another chance to refresh.
All right.
All right, so here's our public IP address.
Yep, we're gonna SSH into that guy now.
Okay. All right, if you don't mind, I'm gonna like split my screen here
Sure.
into two panes. If it's not too small, hopefully, as long as you have the screen share on full size, then it should be legible.
Yeah, no, it looks great.
Okay. I need to become Ubuntu.
Yep.
At here. Next to the terminal, I forgot to do something. There we go. All right. So there's our controller.
Great.
Slash router boxing.
I'm gonna take my video off. Poof. Now, how do I on the old Restream here? How do I just show your screen without showing Ken? Oh, that was a mistake. I want just Ken's screen. I don't want Ken's video right now.
All right, dropping video.
Oh, okay. I only said
think
that
I
because
have to do it.
That's interesting. All right. If you'll see on the right-hand side on the Express install, if you just slide down the page a tiny bit, you'll see a bunch of words describing what it's all about, and then you'll see this little section right here. The first thing you'll need to do is install JQ, and that's the one thing that I missed. So in your terminal window, go ahead and do a sudo apt update and apt install JQ -y. Yeah, you always have to do an apt update first. I don't know why. And this actually takes longer than installing JQ. There must be a way to drop out just the video. I have to figure that one out.
There's not as the producer director view. There's not the people that your guest has to drop their own video in Restream.
Okay,
I asked in the orientation.
Yeah, go ahead and run the install JQ. Okay, you've already done it so fast. Now on the right hand side, you'll see it wants you to create an environment variable called external DNS. If you go ahead and create that environment variable, or set the variable to whatever your external DNS is, which you can grab out of Amazon.
Yep.
And that's important because that DNS is what's going to get stuffed into your certificates. So it needs to match. Well, it doesn't really matter because it'll still be a self-signed certificate. It will still show up as untrusted, but this will just make sure that you can still get there even when you present the certificate. If you had a It's the
domain name for that?
yeah, it's on the right
This
hand
one right
side there.
here.
Yep.
There we go.
Yeah, if you had a legitimate DNS entry, this is where you would put it. And then go ahead and go back to the guide and just execute the following commands. So what this will do is it will figure out your external IP address for you by using eth0.me. It will then set some extra. If you scroll down just a scooch,
It's
it's
jumping all over the place.
oh weird.
It's just a thing that happens with streaming and conferencing. The CPU gets bogged down and doesn't work.
Yeah. So you see what it does here is it sets that external IP address and that external DNS name into a couple of overrides that allow you to specify the name of the controller or the name of the router. And then you'll see the ports that are familiar, 8441 and 8442. So it will create both of those. It'll create your configuration file with those ports in use. And then at the very bottom of that block, you'll see the source command. And then just go ahead and that's going to grab the shell script from GitHub and run that express install function. And what this will do is it will download the latest version of Ziti. It will unpack it into the .ziti/quickstart, and then by default it will use the host name of the network. You can see now it's going to go through and create your entire PKI on your behalf.
Oh,
You could
wow.
always go through and replace all these if you're interested. It makes a really complicated one so that you could learn from the example here how that PKI all goes together. It doesn't
Right.
reuse the same PKI in all the places, which would be far easier. And we do that on purpose so that you can explore the PKI, explore the configs, and see how they all line up. That way, it'll make it easier to actually create your own certificates if you wanted to. All right, so at this point, you don't have a running Ziti yet. We're going to skip the start commands that are right there. And instead, on the left-hand side, you'll see systemd is already shown. Can you scroll down on the left-hand side a little bit tiny more? And you'll see it references two functions. Run that first function, but there is a bug on that second one. And when you run this, it's going to make a systemd file on your behalf. That's just a function that's declared inside of that shell script that you just downloaded. And now run the command that's called create router systemd file, but it passes a variable. You don't need that. You can look at it if you want. Sure.
Go
You
ahead
see,
and
if you go
run
down,
this one, but
no, go down like 5 lines, and then you'll see up one more, right there. See that one, one right below it. You see how it says create systemd file and passes that environment variable, Ziti Edge router raw name? Copy and run that command, and that will create. You see above, I just forgot to paste the environment variable. No, yeah, there you
gotcha.
go.
Sure.
Yep. Go ahead and run that, and that'll make a systemd file for your Edge router. Now, if you copy the next block and run all of those commands, it will put the systemd files into the right place. It will reload systemd, and it will start the controller and the router for you.
Alrighty.
Do those things. And then the next step just shows you that it works. So if you run the sudo system control -q status, you'll be able to see whether or not these things are running. And there you go, Ziti's running. So now you should be able to go to that external DNS name, port :8441, and it should be up and running.
Right. This lower pane is back on my workstation. Oops. I fumbled.
If you echo the $ external DNS, it'll tell you, or IP, yeah.
(8441).
Correct.
Something there.
Yep, and that's your controller. So if you could do a curl to that,
okay,
If you curl -K on that guy, then you can go to /version. Yep, and it'll return you the version. And there you go. All right, so now we've created our entire Ziti network that we need.
All right. Awesome.
Now let's go ahead and do the ZAC. The ZAC is a little bit different. AWS.markdown. I got to send you this quick start guide, which I haven't. I'm going to put it in the old chat here. Boom, click show.
So essentially,
This
we're
one.
doing the one-time setup that a person does to basically switch things over from old school SSH bastions and firewalls and stuff to Ziti Utopia, Zititopia,
Ztopia.
and Zitopia. And then after that initial setup is done, then you can just tack on any number of servers and you no longer need bastions.
Yep. Yep. Well, yeah, you would tack them on, and depending on how you wanted to access, which is where we should have had a diagram, made it a little bit easier. But from that bastion, you would be able to use an edge tunnel and create services from there on out. Can you go to the link I posted? Will that work for you?
The network hosted
Yep.
link?
No, the quick start AWS one. It's the second
Oh,
one I
I see it
posted.
now.
Yep.
It's in the chat.
Oof. Yep.
Oh, no, it won't let me
I will
click it.
I'll send it over to you, Mattermost. There you go.
Now I got it. It thinks that I want to chat bubble the link instead of clicking on it.
Yeah. If you go to this, you'll see it's all the same stuff that we've already done once. Oh, is that raw? Why is it? Oh, that's raw. That's not. No. I don't want the raw view. Hang on one second. Well, how did that get to raw?
I'm not sure.
That's my mistake. AWS.markdown. Let me get the not raw. There we go. Let me give you the not raw because that looks a lot better. Go ahead and go there.
Okay.
And then you'll see it's all the same stuff that we just did. But if you scroll down a little bit more, just scroll, you'll find the ZAC, the Ziti Admin Console is in here.
Okay, so these are basically
It's all the same stuff that we've done. Yep. Just keep going. It's about 3/4 of the way down. There you go. Ziti Admin Console right there. It's only halfway. Yep. Go ahead and do that git clone. And you'll want to do this on the machine in the upper right hand corner. Yep. And it'll put it into Ziti Home. Now, because you've already run that script, Ziti Home is already there.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yep. And you don't even have to change directories. This stuff will all just work as it is.
Awesome. All right.
Yep.
So on
And
the
then
left,
just
I'll just copy and
copy and
paste.
paste it. That's right. Just keep doing that. The weird thing here is you're going to have to run npm install twice, and I don't know why. So this will go ahead and install node and npm, and then you'll have to just run npm install twice. And I thought this was faster than that. Thanks for indulging me doing this, Ken.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know we've been talking about doing it for a long time, but ZDTV gives us a good time to do that.
It is. It's a great excuse to
get to the stuff that you just haven't gotten to yet.
Just do it.
Just do it. I'm trying to see if I can move my. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to move. I wanted to move the. Okay, let's see. That's a little too small. It's a little too small. What does this do? Ooh, that's way too big. Nobody wants that. Nope. All right, I'm going back off video. Right down here.
My install's just about done.
All right. Well, it gave me plenty of time to fumble around with Restream. All right, now go ahead and run npm install twice, or at least until it actually runs. It's that last command. Just npm.
Oh, it never actually ran.
That's interesting. Huh. Apparently, apt didn't complete. Maybe that's why I've been running it twice. Not the apt install, just npm install. Yeah. Well, that might be why I've had to run it twice.
It doesn't show up in
Maybe.
my history. Like it
Interesting. I wonder if it
doesn't.
has a bad character or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now that's all done. Now you can just copy the next block and paste the next block. This will reuse those server certificates, and it just
We're
makes
going
a
to link
symlink.
them in.
It just makes a symlink in the right spot for you. Yep.
And I'm going to run that inside the Ziti
Yep.
console directory.
Yep. Just paste away. Okay. And now you can create your ZAC file. Just copy that next block.
Create Zack systemd, install, reload.
Yep.
All right.
Boom. And then do the no pager thing on the left. Yep. And you'll see it's running. Now, in your browser on the left, you should be able to go to HTTP, that big external IP address and or DNS name, port 8443. And I'm going to ask you to go there in your browser.
Okay.
And because it's a self-signed cert, you look at that. And then
Yep.
you'll see the ZAC.
Typical for a newly installed instance.
Yep. Now here you're going to enter your controller name, Ken ZTV or whatever you want to call it. It's just the name of it. And then down below, you'll add the HTTPS 8441 URL to get to the controller. That's the controller's URL. Yeah, that without the version. Yep. Maybe take off that slash. I don't know what'll happen. Set the controller.
Do it the way I do it.
And then you probably can guess what this is.
Ziggy?
No, let me Mattermost it to you. Because yeah, there you go. You're on the track.
Oh, super secret. No one will ever guess that.
Nope.
What are we going to do?
Nobody could ever guess that. However, if you look at the doc, the very first thing it tells you to do is to change that password.
Yep. Okay, so here's our little friendly admin console. This will be useful for visualizing what's going on.
Yep. So we've done all of the setup now. We've got all the pieces in place. Now all we need to do is define our overlay network.
Okay.
This is similar to the NetFoundry consoles view. You can see it's not quite the same. We have identities that we can create. We have services. We have edge router policies. We have, Ziti policies. We have Ziti config. It's very similar to, I bet without, you've never seen this before, right, Ken? Or have you just like seen it just in passing?
I haven't seen this in, like, I saw an earlier form of it much earlier, back when it was new.
I would wager that you could just figure out how to
Mm-hmm.
create the service that we need to create.
Yeah, probably.
All right, I'm going to turn it back over to you now.
He's like,
Now,
and
wasn't
prove
that
it.
easy? Wasn't that easy? I told you that you could get it done. And maybe it wasn't 5 minutes, but we explained a lot of stuff along the way.
Yeah, it's great to see that progress. So should I switch back to this one?
No, we're done. You have an entire ZD network ready at your disposal.
Okay, cool. So then, now with that one-time setup done, our state hasn't changed for our bastion. We still want to eliminate the bastion. So we just need to basically, we need to construct a ZD path to replace the SSH path that we're using. And it looks like, oh, this comes with everything. It's got the router and everything already running. So we just need an identity for me and for the server.
Yep.
All right. Well, for you and for the server, so that you
Sure.
can actually do the login. So I'll play the part of the network operator, and I'll send you this identity that I'm creating now. SSH, and give you a role of SSH users, and this will be a device that enrolls with a token. Okay. Sent you that.
Okay.
And I'm also going to need an identity for my little SSH server, which only has a private IP address. And it'll also be a device that enrolls with a token. And we'll just call that server Magenta. Now I'll download this value for myself, and got to keep track of what my windows are over here. So we've got two windows. One is this might be the last thing I ever do on the SSH server via the Bastion. What do I do with my Bastion? Oh, I know what happened. Okay, so I'll log into Bastion log into the target server, the SSH server, probably for the last time via the Bastion, and we'll write out our JWT file to SSH1. Here's our JWT file. Right. Our JWT file up there. Now I'll bring up my notes and do the enroll. I've already done a wget to download the zip file for the Ziti agent, Ziti Edge tunneler CLI. I installed unzip, and now I'm going to do the enroll command. Like that succeeded, and it should start showing up now as an enrolled server. All right. Next thing is actually get it running, I think. Let's wait. Let's go ahead and create the service first.
Now, I should probably send you my pub key, right?
So you'll actually be able, yeah, I need to authorize you in there. That's a good point. So this is a functioning network. I really just need to define the authorization here. So this will be our SSH server, and roles for the service itself, SSH servers. I'm going to have to make this wider. This will be a host Ziti tunneler server, I think.
Okay. This is where the SSH will terminate, right?
Yep. So we'll enter a name for the config.
Bastion access. Bastion.
Is this just a
SSH server.
Meaningful.
Yeah, it's
This
the
is a
name of
name
the
for the
config
config
file.
itself.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's the host. So like I would do SSH server host config, or just SSH server config or host. I mean. Yep.
It is already a config. So
Yeah.
this will be localhost.
Perfect.
Then we need to associate with the service. We also need an intercept.
Yep.
Which will be
Well, this should be. I mean, I would call this
magenta.
SSH server client because it's technically the server name and then the client, the config type, right? Even though that's confusing.
Gotcha. So we'll use this fictitious domain name as our intercept, yep. magenta.ssh.zd. Okay. Strategy.
You don't need to actually select the status. Yeah, you can leave it unselected. Okay. We should default that to on.
Yeah, probably. I don't think I need to pick a router because
Nope.
It's going to be terminated by an identity.
That's right.
So I guess I'll have to do that when I create my bind policy.
Yep. More policies.
All right, we've got a service. I can use this like a to-do list up here, make sure I've got all the boxes checked. Edge services, edge routers. We need some policies.
Will you do me one favor? Will you check the edge routers really quickly, just to make sure that public tag got put on here? So if you click on that router, I would think. Okay,
it did.
Let's say public. Cool. That was a bug I had. And then let's look to see, do we have? Okay, we'll get to the edge router policies in a second. I think I just wanted to see if that was there. Thanks.
Alrighty. Well, you might as well check on that
right
first.
There.
So
See it.
All edge routers allows that all those public routers.
Perfect.
For all identities. So we have a blanket rule. We're good there. And while we're doing blanket rules okay, we've already got one for all services can use all routers as well. So we're good on both of our router policies. And we just need a service policy to allow.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna. These are going to be the service roles will be SSH servers. Identities will be SSH servers. As any role. Yeah, so these are inclusive. Bind SSH servers. And I'm going to go back and just double check that I assigned SSH servers to this guy. SSH servers. Okay, we're doing it right. Back to policies.
So far, so good.
Service policies. We've got a bind policy. Now I need to have a dial side policy for you. Got that backwards. Service roles will be SSH servers. Identity roles will be SSH clients.
Why SSH servers for service roles? That was just what you called.
Those are
those are the ones that could be SSH'd to. I see. I got you.
Yeah, I decided to name I unfortunately named the service and the identity, the binding identity. They both have SSH servers as an attribute. Yep. So we have two different types of the same attribute. an identity attribute and a service attribute.
Gotcha. Okay, so now at this point, I think I should get a service.
I didn't actually run the terminating endpoint yet.
Yeah, but I still should have a service show up in my client at this point, I would think. I don't have one yet. And now, had you downloaded Ziti Edge Tunnel to the Bastion already?
I did.
Nice.
Yeah, I had already done the wget right here
Oh,
to get the
cool.
zip file, install zip, unzip, and then, so this is the only part that we showed was writing out the JWT, running the enroll command, and now I'm going to try to run Ziti Edge Tunnel.
Okay. You'll see it's connected to 8442. That's the router port. You want, yeah. Okay.
See my activity. Oh yeah, I need to put your pub key in there too.
Oh, yes.
I think I already have it, so I should be able to just look it up.
I sent it to you in Mattermost.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll grab it from there then. Gotcha.
Make it easy on you.
All right.
Now, I don't have a service still. So one of the other things that you could do is go back to the controller where you've logged in. Let's, real quick, let's do a Ziti Edge policy advisor.
Okay.
So if you are in the Amazon machine, you'll be able to do a Ziti login with a capital L, one word. And now you'll be able to do Ziti Edge policy advisor.
I don't have a
Identities.
Ziti command.
Oh, so interesting. It didn't source that. Okay, so just do a source dot Ziti. Actually, it's actually dot dot from here. You actually CD'd to the it's so dot dot slash IP tab. Nope, too far. IP tab at dot env. So that it's hostname dot env file. No, just a dot env, no slash. Dot env. Yeah, there you go. And that'll add Ziti to your path. So now you can yeah, there you go. Now you can run your Ziti Edge policy advisor. Strange that wasn't there. Everything else is there. I don't know dash Q. Where'd the minus Q come from? Just identities. Yeah, there you go.
It just
So
omits
Clint.
this general guidelines section if you give it a Q.
So Clint does not have access to any services. Nothing has access to services. That's interesting, considering I thought we saw a blanket policy.
Yeah, let's just step
Well, right
through it
here,
again.
stay on the Ziti command line. You can just go back
Okay,
there to your Ziti Edge list
sure.
service policies.
Okay.
Just in case there's a dissonance between. Oh, yeah, that is definitely that's. I know I saw you have an all policy.
For service edge router policies and edge
Oh,
router
that was
policies.
SERPs. Yeah, that was SERPs. Right, right. Okay, so this is and what if you list identities? Does my identity have SSH clients on it? SSH users.
Oh,
Aha.
did
Perfect.
I just
You typed
mismatched?
clients. Yep, that's okay. Cool. Well, now we can either
Yeah,
do it here or you can do it back in the UI.
I changed it from users to clients while we were in flight. That's what I did wrong.
And yet, no, it's users. You put clients back.
Right. So I only used
Oh,
users
oh,
one
I see.
time,
I see. I
and
gotcha.
that's
Okay,
I just went the other way. Yeah,
gotcha. I got it. And now
settled
I
on
have a
clients.
service. Hooray!
Okay, round on me again. All right.
Look at that. Now I can SSH to Magenta, even though I can't actually SSH there. But I already have access to it. That's cool. Oh, actually, look. Whoosh, we can do this. What happens? Boom.
There you go.
Look at that. Hey,
Swoosh.
see that? So I have been able to access 100.64.2.76, which is magenta.ssh.zd for me. Neat. So now I've got to SSH through it. So in order to use
You
this
did SSH.
bastion,
You
no,
bypassed the bastion, yeah, to
I,
get
by,
there.
I bypassed it.
Yeah, you didn't use the bastion at all because you went
No, this
directly
is the
to
bastion.
the. It's not the bastion. That's the target server.
Oh, I thought so we have had a miscommunication. So we are going to turn the bastion off, but yet allow me to still SSH through the bastion. And that's useful because then you only have to define one service and I can still SSH through it using ZD to endpoints,
Yeah, you could
right?
do it either way.
We,
But what I've gone for, my objective was to eliminate the bastion, not to
I
zetify the bastion.
yes, I wanted to go one step before eliminating the bastion entirely. Because right now at NetFoundry, we access our componentry through a bastion, right? And so the
Hmm.
first thing that I want to do is I want to have NetFoundry keep the bastion because adding services to all of our componentry is more work, and just simply make our bastion dark. No bastion. It's still a bastion, but no listening bastion. Dark to the internet. So
Oh,
we had a
well, we can actually
miscommunication
add
there.
that on.
Yeah,
We still have a few minutes if you want to add that on to what we're doing.
yeah, yeah.
This would be a new service like Bastion dot ssh.zd,
Exactly.
and then you would need to use a jump command on your SSH client
Yep.
to get
Yep.
through it. But interestingly, it would not be exposed directly to the internet.
Exactly. We would have our bastion, keep it in place. However, we would have a dark bastion, a bastion that does not have access to the internet, which is
Right.
just part of that journey. Like, so step one would be, okay, I have a bastion. I mean, that, right? So step one is everybody SSHs everywhere. It's a Wild West. Step two is, okay, everybody accesses SSH through this bastion thing so I can have a finer grained control. And then step three is, okay, now the bastion is totally dark. People still access the bastion, but that bastion is totally dark. Step four is now we've eliminated the bastion entirely, and you're SSHing through ZD tunnelers on both ends to all of our equipment everywhere. And step five is ZSSH. So now I don't need a ZD tunneler locally. I can just ZSSH to places. And step six is a Zetified SSH server on the other side too, and I don't need ZD tunnels anywhere. So that's the kind of evolution that I could see us going through. And right now, I wanted to just use that jump server through Ziti because I don't have the I don't even have the IP address of the Bastion, right? Like I don't even know where the Bastion is. So to me, it is dark. Does that make sense?
Did I add your Plint identity on? I didn't even add it on the Bastion
No,
host.
because you were one step ahead of me.
Yeah,
You had gone to eliminating the Bastion entirely.
right. Yeah, only I am on the controller host, which is in our top pane. And so now I'm trying to bring up the Bastion itself so we can enable it as a dark Bastion, which is
That's right.
the objective that you wanted to hit.
Yeah. So if you do that wget on the Bastion to install the Ziti Edge tunnel, you'd have to make an identity for the Ziti Edge tunnel on the Bastion.
Yep.
Make a service, the same exact service you made already for Magenta. It would just be bastion.zd or whatever, and then I should be able to jump right through it.
Yeah, I think it should work. I'm just
We
trying to
got
get
we got
logged
nine
in.
minutes, and then we can do it.
Oh, I see what the problem is. I still have my jump command in there. Come on. We didn't change the security group for the Bastion yet, so it should still be reachable. There are two. How'd that happen? And then it just started working for some reason. I'll take it.
Well, that's
All
fine.
right, so on the bottom, we've got our Bastion, and we need to do the setup for this guy. So I will download the zip file, unzip it on the Bastion. And I'll create a new identity for the Bastion host. We have an enrollment. So now we're going to need to service this guy as well.
I was just making it. What's the role I should give it? SSH servers.
The hosting identity has SSH bastions as its role. But as long as we have a
refresh,
unique, okay,
then go to
bastion
Bastion
server.
server there and see what I may have not gotten right.
That's fine.
Oh, I thought I made a client config and a server config. Where's the
I
server?
see a client config for bastion.zd,
Yeah, I had picked
but I
the.
don't see.
If you go into the select configuration there, I had picked the server. Yep, and I had reused the one that you made before, like
Oh,
that.
that should be fine.
Oh, I didn't click add.
There we
That's
go.
that's where I went wrong. I see.
Now it's done.
Okay,
So
so now I
since the
have
service,
bastion.zd locally.
I'll change, since I used a new identity role, I'll change the bind policy to also allow that role to bind. Did I say SSH bastions or
Here, let me check. That's on the
it said
identity itself.
SSH bastions? Yeah.
Where is it? Where's the name? My screen's not big enough. SSH Bastion server. Here it is. SSH Bastions. Yep.
All right. It should be working now then. All we
The
have to
Bastion
do
server's
is,
not running.
well, I didn't run it, but it should be ready now. Ready to run. Because it is hosting the Bastion SSH server.
All right. So if I were to go to mine is J bastion.zd. Is that how I do it?
Yep.
And then
Let me peek at your screen there. Okay, so yeah, -J, then the domain name of the. Now you're going to need to give it. It's not going to know. It's not going to necessarily want to use a ZD domain name for the target server. That's actually
good
going to
point.
be a private IP
Yep.
inside the VPC.
Right. It's like 53 something.
Here we go. 172.20.
Can I do this? Oh, look at that. All right. 172.20.43.35.
Yep,
I'll flip back to me. Oh, I'm getting better. All right.
you're a
Like
master.
this. Okay. And then I have to add my key to,
I got to add your key on the Bastion as well, now that you mention it.
do I have to add I must have to add my ID RSA.
You need to add that on the Bastion here. I did for the controller. So we already did this for the target server, but not for the Bastion server.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll just grab your pub key again from chat. Paste it in there. All right, you should be authorized now on the Bastion as well.
Mm. Oh, it's not CD. What is it? CD? What's the Username.
The username on the Bastion is Ubuntu. There you go. That got you all the way through. I saw it get through the Bastion.
Yep. Yeah, definitely did.
And the username on the remote is also Ubuntu on the target server.
Yay! We did it, Ken. Dark Bastion
Well,
right there.
let's prove. I mean, I know you went to a fictitious domain name, but we can actually bring
Sure.
the Bastion host itself, change its security group so that it's no longer reachable.
Yeah.
Right? So here's our Bastion host. Here's our security group that allows SSH. So it allows SSH from a security group. This isn't the view that I'm used to. Inbound rules allows
Well,
inbound
just
from.
change port 22 to 222.
Okay.
that way, okay, or not. Why is it being like this? There it goes. That way we can be sure that it's not port 22. And then you can always put it back if you really need to.
Right. So now I should lose access actually because this was me trying to log into the Bastion.
Yep.
Since I'm not using Ziti, I lost access completely. So now if we flip over to your screen, you should
Yep.
still be able to get in.
Okay, let's see. We're going to jump through bastion.ziti, like you said, a totally fictitious domain name that maps to this
Yep.
Bastion server. Here we go. Let's see what happens. We
There
did
we
it.
go. We did it
Fantastic.
ourselves, actually.
We did it.
All open source, self-hosted.
And
Goodness.
that was pretty awesome, I think. We have installed an entire Ziti network, which I know you had a lot of trepidation over, but we did it. And the docs are mostly good enough. They got a couple bugs here and there, but if anybody who's really, motivated by our stream here today, they can just rewatch the video and see how we did it. But other than that, I think that was an absolutely rousing success. After the couple of failed attempts at OC zetification, feels good to get a win in the win column again. I think that was pretty cool, man.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks for pushing me in the right direction.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all for this week's version of ZTV. We'll see you next time.